I check it like you read Singh bowling it, yeah? I really don't mind.
You hit me once, I hit you back.
He's bowling like my Auntie Annie when she'd had too much sherry to drink.
Played over my head, then I set fire.
मैंने कहा बेटा बेटा होता है और बाप बाप होता है.
Okay. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Pie Checkers Cricket Podcast. This is Vivek along with my fellow Pie Checkers Sai and Sumer. In this episode of Pie Checkers Cricket Podcast, we are going to review the mid-season performances of the IPL teams, our buy and sell decision. Then we move on to the popular fantasy players to look out from each of the team, followed by identifying the most valuable players, MVPs thus far, emerging players of the tournament, which is personally my favorite, our top matches of the tournament, and last but not the least, the overall leading pie checker of the tournament. This is something which has been very popular on our social media platforms. If you don't know about it, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you'll know all about it. So guys, how has been the tournament for you guys? I mean, are you guys enjoying it? What are your initial reactions?
Well, it's always great to have cricket every day. And that's what I'm really enjoying, is that there's some cricket to look forward to every day. And the IPL season just has this whole atmosphere. I mean, you are in India, Khare, you would know better. But and all the ads, all the news, everything gets directed towards the IPL. So it's just a fun time, I think.
It's just that for you, it's not prime time anymore. You have to get up early in the morning for
for some of the
matches.
double headers especially, yeah.
Yeah. So does that affect? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but he follows cricket, man. He knows the pulse. Doesn't matter if it starts 5:30 in the morning for him or 6:30 in the morning. Sai knows the pulse. So yeah, I know that. Yeah. So
Right. So would you have woken up every day if all the matches were at 5:30 a.m. your time?
me? Are you talking about me?
No, Sai.
I would probably wake up and then put on the match and go back to sleep. If every match was at 5:30. It's like the tours of Australia when you're in
I was
India.
going to say that because IPL gives you that window that 2-3 hours you can watch and then sleep. Unlike, for example, a test, you have to follow up later. Anyway, yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun here for me as well. Although the broadcasting was a problem initially, but then somehow I managed it. And yeah, it's like after work you have something to look forward to every day, and then it's a lot of like something you like. You like to watch people play cricket and so on and so forth. So it's good.
Great. So we have a packed agenda, guys. So we will start with the mid-season review. And who's going first? Sumer, I believe you are the first, starting with RCB.
Yes, I am. RCB is a very hot team this season. The thing is that they started with a different team. They had Josh Hazelwood and Dale Steyn in their first 11 to start with. They quickly corrected it in their third or fourth match. Although they had ABD and Finch as well, who have obviously remained unchanged. They've just managed to do much more than was expected of them, at least from my perspective. They've only lost, I guess, like 2 matches against Kings 11 and a very big loss against Delhi. Apart from that, they've won not almost everything. So I want to talk a little about, for example, their team composition and how they have changed over these 9 matches they've played as of today. So as I said, they start off with Josh Phillip and Dale Steyn. Dale did not do very well in the second match. He went for a lot of runs, even in the first match. So they corrected that in their third outing and had Isuru Udana come in. And then they also went for Zampa. Although Zampa was like, again, hot and cold, did not do so well. But they seem to have now the balance that I guess will take them through to the tournament, at least maybe, possibly to the playoffs. So they have Isuru Udana They have ABD and Finch, obviously, and they've now have Morris, which is something that they I think are very comfortable playing. And I guess one thing that I want to change there, possibly, obviously, with the advancement of the tournament, is maybe also have Moin Ali play. Uh, the reason for that is because their batting right after ABD is not so promising, and Morris comes slightly later than to sort of like give you that bridge between the mid the 12th to 15th over, and then maybe Morris and ABD can go all guns blazing in 16th over onward. So they need somebody of a stable character. I'm not sure if Gurkirat Maan is that person, or Shivam Dubey is that person, but I think they can let go of Udana, who's been doing okay, but not really great as compared to, for example, a foreign fast bowler. We've seen KG Rabada, we've seen Bolt, we've seen Pat Cummins. So there and Anand Nokia as well. So you want to have a fast bowler who of that pedigree. If he's not, then maybe to strike a good balance and have spin option as well. I guess VK can look at Moin Ali as well in the coming matches. So that's been my sort of very small review of RCB. Their problem, I guess, has been, again, sometimes death bowling, which somehow has been elevated with Morris now in the last two matches. And let's see how they go on from now to the end of the tournament. And if I was to sell or buy this team now, I would definitely buy it. Just picks itself. It's 9 matches, 10 points, so it just sort of is very easy. 12 points. Sorry, 12 points. Yeah, they won the matches today as well. Sorry. So I'll buy them. And talking about most important fantasy players, I would say ABD and Morris and Padikkal.
Well, I was selling them at the start of the season, and clearly that was wrong. They are better,
me too.
But yeah, I'm just not. I always feel uncomfortable looking at that bowling lineup. They've done a lot of chopping and changing, and they're just they're still plugging holes there. I don't feel that it's a settled bowling lineup as such. However, it does look like we've moved past Siraj and Umesh Yadav. So that is a plus point, because no IPL team should be having both Umesh Yadav and Siraj on the roster. It really limits your options. So it's a sell for me. Sorry, it's a buy for me.
Buy.
But
Okay.
it was a sell for me previously, so I'm...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So for me, I had predicted a buy for them. Probably this is a this I said things could be different this season, and surprisingly, yes, they are different. They are playing well right now. But for me, I think the biggest difference for them has been the opening, the way the David Padikkal has been performing. I think that has played a crucial role, because he has been consistent with the run making at the top of the order, which was not happening previously. I think that has played a huge role in VK, taking the pressure out of from VK and ABD. I mean, like, what do you call them? A super hero without the cape, right? But yeah, as I said, their bowling does seem to, it doesn't inspire confidence as such in those crucial moments. But yes, just based purely on the basis of their batting performance thus far, they have been very good, and it's still a buy for me.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Shall we move on then to our next team?
Yes.
Hurry and
Uh,
CSK.
the grand old dad's team. For me, if I have to sum up their mid-season performance, it is from it would be Murphy's Law, which things which can go wrong will go wrong. I mean, just look at what has happened to them. They have had players withdrawing before the tournament. They have had COVID problems. They have had players getting injured during the tournament, which is your Ambati Raidu, they have had players getting injured during the match, like it was Bravo during the other day. So, I mean, what can go wrong has gone wrong for them. In spite of all that, they started off well uh, in the tournament. They thumped MI, but for me, that has been the pattern. The wins they have, the three wins they have thus far, have all been thumping wins. They haven't had those characteristic CSK wins, the wins where they squeeze the opponents out of the game, the wins which are close, nail biting finishes. In fact, they have been in a position where they have surrendered the matches. And maybe it is because they are not playing at Chepok, or the play or the pitches have not been as conducive to spin. Maybe those could be the major reasons. But and apart from that, who are I mean, there hasn't been any impetus at the start of the innings. I mean, they started off with Vijay, who was I don't know why they were even playing him. He was totally out of. I think he should be. I don't think he'll play IPL going
Ever again.
forward. Yeah, absolutely. And and the surprising bit is there doesn't seem to be any other player who can play that role. Those who will make those quick 30 40s. They have tried uh, uh, Karan, but the only I feel Karan has a quick 10, 15 runs in him. He won't have that sustained opening thrust which the CSK require. Watson, though, has had success, but overall, with him not bowling, being rather slow on the field, and with his batting, I feel he has been a bit of a liability. Uh, so overall, I feel there have been only two performers in this team thus far. One has been Faf, who's in the top. I think he's in the top three run getters of the tournament, if I'm not wrong, at this point of time. And then we have Karan, who has opened the bowling, who has opened the batting, who is bowling at the death, and is not a bad fielder. Coming and to that end, if there is one player I want to be in my life, it has to be Kedar Jadhav. ना वो बॉलिंग करता है, ना वो बैटिंग करता है, ना उसको फील्डिंग में यू हैव टू हाइड हिम, and he is still earning crores. I mean, yaar, if want to be a player, if I want to be a performer, this is the guy I want to be. कुछ मत करो और आराम से टाइम पास करके करोड़ों कमाओ. This is the guy.
But you
I
have
want
to
to
be
be Kedar
Dhoni
Jadhav.
friend for that.
Huh?
You have to be Dhoni friend for that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yes, probably. I mean, so they have what? How does so? Where do they stand now? They have played nine. They have 6 points from 9 games with 5 games to go. So generally, what is observed is teams to qualify for the playoffs need around 16 to 18 points, which means they have to win all the remaining games, which I say is a little difficult. The only way I feel this is going to happen if probably Imran Tahir, who has been their leading wicket taker in the last tournament, comes in and does some magic, or Shane Watson on top of the order goes berserk, goes haywire, thinks nothing to lose, and you just get hell loose. I mean, apart from that, I feel it is very difficult for them to qualify, and for that reason, they are a sell for me. Um, Coming to the fantasy bit, I think for me, Karan, he has been in my all matches thus far in the fantasy league. So I feel he gives you bowling points, he gives you fielding points, he gives you batting points. So I think he is one pick which you should always have when CSK is playing. Apart from him, purely on the basis of what Faf has been doing, I think Faf continues to be a great pick. Maybe he is a foreign player. Both of them are foreign players, and but yeah, I would still go ahead with Faf just on sheer on the volume of runs which he has been scoring. How about you guys? What do you guys look at it? How do you guys look at CSK? Sai?
Yeah, I think Kedar Jadhav is the definition of a pie chucker, right? At least this season. Yeah, look, where do we start with CSK? If you just look at Dhoni's face, I feel Dhoni himself doesn't have those witty retorts anymore to explain every performance after every match. He's not used to losing. They always win. I mean, they always at least qualify for the playoffs, and to be in such a position is a little bit difficult. I just don't see them winning out the last final 5 matches of this season. So it's a sell for me.
Um, yeah, it's obviously it's a sell for me as well. Although at the start of the tournament I had said they would qualify. You know, when I changed my mind is when Dhoni was batting in a match and then he just couldn't run. And then I guess they're in overall in a state of denial or what, talking about a process, talking about something will work out, and when I don't know. So I mean, you talked an important point. You said, I mean, why haven't they tried Imran Tahir yet? What are they waiting for? So this state of, yeah, we know what will work, and I'm not sure how, is sort of like cancers for them overall in this tournament. So I guess they're a sell.
Okay. So what is the next team?
Kings 11 Punjab, anyone?
Oh,
What is there to say? I think this is the easiest team to dissect because it's quite clear to me that they've forgotten how to win. Um, winning is a habit, as the cliche goes. And right now, this is a habit which Kings 11 Punjab doesn't seem to be able to maintain. They basically pull losses out of the jaws of victory. And for me, a big part of it is the leadership. KL Rahul, while being the I think the orange cap holder, and Mayank Agarwal being in the top 3 run scorers possibly as well. Um, I just don't see them. I just don't see that clear vision and leadership from KL Rahul, which ensures that the team either bowls well or bats well, sees through with chasing targets, etc. He himself seems to get bogged down a lot. He doesn't accelerate when you expect him to. So, what is it that is? What can this team do differently? What have they done wrong so far? So, if you look at that combination and that squad before the season started, we had called out the fact that they are very top heavy in terms of the batting, and they are highly dependent on their playing those foreign batsmen. Now, when you have a Gale, a Maxi, and a Puran, almost all 3 of them deserve getting picked, right? We have seen that Gale hasn't come in until now, but Puran and Maxwell haven't really given the returns that you'd expect when you are investing so much money in them and they are taking 2 foreign slots. At the same time, you've just had a rotation of fast bowlers coming in and out, or foreign fast bowlers coming in and out. Is it Cottrell? Is it Jordan? Is it Mujib? And nobody has really kind of cemented that place. Having said that, I feel that in the previous match, I think they're starting to hit the right combination with Chris Gale 1 down. It does add a little bit of power hitting early on, because we haven't been seeing that from Maxwell especially. And with their 2 leg spinners, Murugan Ashwin and of course Bishnoi, who has been, I think, a leading candidate for emerging player of the year. I think with these 2 guys, they have 2 attacking leg spinners. Their Arshdeep Singh, who I think is a young left arm fast bowler. Never heard of him before, but he looks pretty decent as well. And it seems like they're now going to stay with Chris Jordan. So finally, about 60% of the tournament has passed, and perhaps now they've figured out that lineup which is suitable to them. But I think it's a little too late, and I really question KL Rahul as a captain going forward. I don't know if they retain him or not. But give me Ashwin. I'll take Ashwin any day over KL Rahul. He just looks a little bit cluttered, a little bit out of sorts as captain, and I think it starts with the captain. So there's a case for the captain to change, but it doesn't matter, I think, at this point of the season. So it's a clear sell. I think there's no doubt, and we were even selling. All of us were selling it pre-season as well. Sumer?
Yeah, I don't know. They have a very good side on paper. Yeah. So you talked about Bishnoi, Arshdeep Singh doing very well. So and they have like blizzard kind batting, right? So Mayank and Rahul now with Chris Gale as well, Maxi there. I think you're right. It's just they're not able to like sort of like form into a team, which I guess sits on the head of the captain. Yeah. So I don't think that's going to change. Of course, it will not, and it's a sell for me as well. Although I still feel Chris Gale, I don't think you should have so many expectations from him. Even now, like yeah, he's done well. He's scored a 50. Come back with a bang, but I'm not sure if they will bear a lot of fruits playing all 6 matches that they have to from now on. Playing him, I would rather play Mujib.
Did you see how he performed in the only game he played?
Yeah,
I think
just
that's
one game.
ridiculous. I think their bowling lineup is good the way it is right now. They've actually hit on the right combination in bowling. I just don't see. I agree with you that Gale, he can't run, and him at one down is a little bit of a little bit of a question mark if he has to, if you need to run fast and hard between the wickets in the middle overs. But you know what, man? He had that swagger, and he came out there and he started. The universe boss started hitting sixes, and at least the team believed for about half an hour that
Yeah.
it's possible. Of course, then he got out in the last run out in the last over because he couldn't run a fast single, and KL Rahul took it to the last ball, and it required Puran to hit a six. Blah blah blah. But at least that team needed that injection of life, which I think Chris Gale has given, because clearly KL Rahul does not have a pulse. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
and
dramas,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and the problem is, I think yes, Maxwell has been. I mean, like, कर क्या रहा है पता नहीं वो. But for me, the problem is, यार, why haven't they been able to close matches? They have lost matches which they should have won outright. Mother, they had no business losing some of the matches. The one against Tevatia, where they, I mean, like, okay, I mean that's a fame. I mean, like, what can you do? 30 runs
against
in one
KKR as
over.
well, they messed up.
I mean, as you said, Sai, they have lost. I think they have lost the way, or they don't have the habit to win matches, so they are losing close games, or actually they have won those games, and they just. I mean,
They're finding
I don't
ways to.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है. And so for me, at this point of time, with what 2 wins, no, definitely not. They're not going to be qualifying for the playoffs. Definite sale.
I think we should look at teams now who are performing a little bit better. All that negativity is too much. So let's. Sumer, what do you think about Mumbai Indians?
Well, what does anybody say about Mumbai Indians? I mean, they had a rough start. They had a very bad start. The first match they lost, and then since then they haven't really looked back. Apart from the match that they played against RCB, that went to the super over. I mean, barring those two, I mean that also was like a hit and miss. That super over as well. They did really well to first of all get there. Pollard and Ishan Kishan. It was. I mean, for me, it is the best match I think of the tournament. But anyway, coming back to Mumbai, so they have won everything. I mean, what is it that they haven't done? They have a great balance opening the batting. They have Bolt and Bumrah. They have Krunal Pandya, and Rahul Chahar has surprisingly done very well. I did not know I wasn't expecting him to sort of like do so well. He's taken wickets the other day. He almost took like 2-3 wickets, and it was pretty good, right? And so what can you say about a team that has done very little in terms of the errors? Yeah. So all I can talk about is, for example, their command on the field, and I guess a lot of it is to do with Sai, you also talked about habit of winning. Is to do with the habit of winning. They have a great spread of guys, and these guys together do very well and get you through. That's what. So some of the matches, for example, obviously, I mean, not all of the matches have been like thumping wins for them, but they have won convincingly. Yeah, most of the matches. Then I will talk about a little about their balance. They tried NCN the other day, and I would like to see more of him, especially in UAE, because with his variation and the control over lengths. I think he would be a good, option. Having said that, they already have Bolt and they have others as well in the bowling that they might not feel that lacoon. But I think it would be good for them to also try him a little more and get him ready maybe for some matches that probably can make a difference. So overall, great side. Not many things you can at the start in the tournament we had thought about their spin, but they have done relatively okay. Rahul Chahar has been doing well. Kunal Pandya is okay, but I guess
Kunal
he'll do
Pandya
the
has
job.
been surprisingly good, Sumer. He's been surprisingly good, actually. He has been, him and Akshar Patel and Washington Sundar have made like have been surprisingly good, and they have bowled in difficult times as well. They have bowled in power play as well.
True, true. But I guess most of the wickets that Rahul Chahar has taken has impressed me more than I mean, that was expected of Kunal Pandey. He's a power hitter. He gets you those 4 overs quickly and so on. But to me, I think Rahul Chahar has done very well. So obviously, it's I don't know what do you call it, the sell. No, it's a buy for me, and I would take QDK and a Bolt as their two fantasy players to look out for.
Wow,
Bolt.
you're taking Bolt in that star-studded team. You're taking Bolt.
Yeah, he's one of the leading wicket takers, and I guess more so in the tournament it will show.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you what stands out for me is that batting lineup. You have two of the best, most aggressive openers up there. They figure it out every time. Ishan Kishan suddenly is really good again, or Saurabh Tiwari was good for the couple of matches that he played. And the best part about for me for that in that batting lineup, oh yes, Sky. Sorry, he was good too. He's been very good too. But the finishers, you have Hardik playing only as a batsman, and you have Kieran Pollard coming so late down the order. But those two guys, they put you in a position to chase anything and to accelerate at any stage of the game. So I really like the finishers there. I don't think any of these teams have finishers who have been as consistent as these two have been. So I really like that about their bowling. And the rest of it, they are clearly they're owned by the richest people, and they clearly are the richest team in terms of the talent. The talent that they have. So it's definitely a buy. There's no second thing thinking about that.
I think there is nothing much to add. I mean, everybody is in form in that team, whether it be bowlers, your finishers, or your top order batsmen. Everybody has performed. It's an in form team. There are, I mean, I hardly look. I don't know what is their weak link, because whatever they have been tested from each and every angle, and everyone in every position has performed. So I I, I see it very hard to beat them. So yeah, definitely a buy for me. So the next team is Rajasthan Royals.
Yep.
So they had a great start to the season. They won against CSK, who was coming with one win already. Then they won against Kings 11, which they had no business winning. Uh, the game which is now called the or the famous Tevatia game. But just like Samson, they have flattered to deceive, and now they have won one game out of their next seven. And there is and if you look at the numbers, there is no surprise. If you look at the orange cap standing right now, they have Samson, followed by a surprise Tevatia, and then even more is Smith. But where do they stand in the orange cap race? 17th, 18th, and 19th, respectively, on the table. How the hell do you expect a team to qualify like that? If you look at all the other, and if you look at from a captaincy perspective, apart from probably Dhoni and DK, who are a wicket keeper batsman cappies, I think Smith has been the worst of the lot. He has like what,
KL Rahul.
uh, KL Rahul has at least performed. He's the leading orange
Leading run
cap,
scorer, man.
leading run
No,
scorer.
I meant as
Right?
captain.
Captain, but just overall.
As
I
a
mean,
player as
yeah,
well.
if As a player as well. I mean, he has like 220 runs from 9 games. I mean, there have been talks now that he should be dropped probably and get in Miller and make Butler the captain. Maybe they can try that. Uh, Apart from them, that as well, apart from Smith as well, Butler has, maybe he came, I think, 2 3 games late in the tournament, but still hasn't hit his strides. He's hitting those quick fire 20s, 30s, but isn't kicking on. He's not having that impact in a match, which we see him so often doing at an international stage, and was doing previously in IPLs. And then we have Samson. For him, I feel his tournament is already over. Just like all other previous season, for him the season lasts for 2 games and then it is done. Yeah, uh, Ben Stokes has come in really late. He's opening the batting, which I think is a good decision with him opening Smith or Miller in the middle order and Butler as a finisher. Probably uh, when things are not working out, this feels like a better way of approaching it and seeing how it unfold. Uh, then you look at the purple cap. You have Archer, who has done phenomenally well. He's at the third position in the purple cap race with 12 wickets. But who's the next best? The next best is your man Tewatia again at 23rd position with 6 wickets. So, which tells me there has been absolutely no backup whatsoever for Archer. If Tewatia is your next best, then I don't know how things are going to unfold. I mean, you have Tom Curran, who I feel now is the foreign version of our very own Siraj. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can trust Tom Curran to give you at least 40, if not 30 runs, or go for max in the last crucial overs, the death overs. I think he's a specialist death bowler, but I don't know how. I it's a he, he's just been off, yeah. And then uh, probably we have, and Sai, I'm quoting you the other day when we were having our discussion. We
Mhm.
had the other guy is as expensive outside as he's on the field. Our very own Sir Jaidev Unatkar. So I mean, like, yeah, who is going to support Archer? There is no clear cut backup option. So it's until and unless they have they have at least of the three Stokes, Butler and Smith or Miller have go berserk in the next 5 games. I think it was the previous season where Butler scored 5 consecutive 50s. If that is the kind of performance, if any one of them can give, apart from any support provided by the bowlers, they may give a fight or they may put up a fight to get into the playoffs. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to see them in the last four. For me, it is a definite sell. And from a fantasy point of view, I think just based on my own personal experience, I think whenever I played Archer, he is giving you those wickets. He's averaging, I mean, more than 1 wicket per game. So definitely Archer. And with now Stokes coming into do the frame as the games get I mean, as he has more games under his belt, probably he will start bowling as well, and then he's a good option to have. He'll give you bowling. He will give you points in batting, bowling, and fielding. So yeah, from a fantasy perspective, Archer and Stokes.
Okay. What do you make of Tewatia though? I mean, that has, I guess, been the highlight of the whole team. I would like to know more from your perspective about what
For
you.
me, I think yeah, he has. I wanted to discuss him in the MVP section, most valuable player section. I feel he has just he's been phenomenal. Yeah, I mean they have had 2 games, three wins, and out of that, two has been because of him, where he has single-handedly won it for them. So for me, I mean he has something about him. He has some spunk about him, which
Also
I
very
don't.
fire.
He's that fiery, and he's not afraid of asking for what he thinks he's deserving
Deserves.
of. So yeah, he has that spunk about him. I like that. I like
And
that character.
he's bowled well. He at times he obviously has batted well and he's fielded well. Some might even say that he's a 3D player, but
It's a good
let's
one,
not
right?
let's not put that tag on him right now.
It's a good one.
Did you mention your fantasy picks, Kare?
Yeah. So for me, it is
Archer
Archer
and Stokes.
and Stokes. I feel they are going to give you a lot of points.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know what? Steve Smith just was playing very unlike Steve Smith's shots at the top when he was opening the batting. So I think he might be better suited at number 4, like he was in the previous match, where he doesn't try to force the pace from ball 1 because he's in the power play. He looks to nurdle and nudge it around and then play all his weird shots that gets him all these funny angles, which you can't cut off. So I think they might have hit on the right batting order there, but might be a little too late for this tournament. So maybe next year. But
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
sell for me this year.
Right. This is help for me as well. The match we saw yesterday, they had no business losing it. I don't know why they lost it. And
What
that is
match was that?
that. It was the match. I mean, when Smith made those 40, 50, whatever, 60 runs, and they were not able to like sort of get it back. I mean, the other guys chased it, right? So that means that if they did not win that match, they will not win more. So it's a sell for me.
But that was a ABD special.
Yeah, it was an ABD
I-
special, but yeah, I think even Sam Katic said that it was RR's match to win. We just had a good luck, or I don't know what is the word he used, but he said he did acknowledge that we had no business winning that match.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you have Jaydev Unadkat in the death, what do you expect, right? And I think they kept him. They bowled him in the 19th over, if I'm not mistaken, when they should
Yeah,
have
yeah,
probably bowled Jofra Archer in the 19th
Archer.
over, because the game was over as a contest by the 20th over.
Yeah,
Even Gurkirat Singh Man was able to hit one 4 of Jaydev Unadkat. So that pretty much tells you all that you need to know about him and that team. So now we look at the Sunrisers Hyderabad, personal favorites of me and mine and Khares. Um, at the start of the season when we were dissecting that roster, what was clear was that they just didn't have enough Indian batting strength. You are overly reliant on David Warner. You are overly reliant on Johnny Bairstow, and the beginning of the season, they didn't even get that combination right. They didn't realize that you also need to play KW or K Nanna, as we like to call him, in every match. I mean, he's just that good, and the rest of your batting is just that inexperienced and not that good. Manish Pandey has been all right in fit and spurts, but he's not going to carry that batting lineup. That batting lineup is really driven by the openers, and unfortunately, they've been a bit unlucky as well. Bhuvi picked up an injury, and that's a big loss. Some bright spots for them. Natarajan has been a Yorker bowling machine. I mean, wow! It's been a while since I've seen an Indian bowler so consistently and capably bowl Yorkers. I think since Bumrah, I think it's him and Bumrah. That's it. I don't know who else bowls so many Yorkers so consistently. So he's been a bright spot, but not having Bhuvi, you don't have that experience, and you really don't have that second weapon along with Rashid Khan to get you that wicket, right? Rashid Khan has been his, world conquering self as you would expect him to be, but there's been a lot put on his plate. If you see in the one of the recent matches they played, even Rashid Khan, who they really rely on when they're trying to strangle as well as pick up important wickets. They bring him in a little late in the game, hoping to pick up that wicket to keep them in good stead through the death stage. Because other than Natarajan, they don't really have death bowlers. So Rashid Khan almost has to play a role of a death bowler right before you enter the death stage. And that's asking a lot of him to every match for him to come in the 16th or 17th over, pick up that wicket and slow down that scoring rate going into the death. So you're overly reliant on your openers and you're overly reliant on Rashid Khan and everything and everyone else in that Indian middle order. You don't know how they're going to fire on the day. So unfortunately, it's just a team which has been hamstrung by what are pretty obvious deficiencies which they didn't address during the auction. So they are who we thought they were, the SRH. They're no better than what we thought they were, but they're not the worst team. They're still in it to some extent, but if I were a betting man, my money would not be on them. And so, with a heavy heart, I must again sell SRH. In terms of fantasy players, I think it's pretty clear. David Bhai has to be one of the picks. Johnny Bairstow is obviously another one, and Rashid Khan. Between these three, you can't go wrong if you have an SRH game for the most part. Sumer, what's your thoughts on SRH?
You made an interesting point about Bhuvi not being there and the kind of gap he created. Although Sandeep Sharma has been doing very well at the top of the order, at least in the power plays when the ball is new, he doesn't have the same game in the depth, right? So that I guess is again. It's a good thing that they have Sandeep Sharma as a backup for Bhuvi because to start with, he does very well. But I get again, the big gap they have is after Kane Williamson, there's I don't know nobody to sort of finish a game. So I would sell them.
I mean, this is a hard one for me. So I had called them as buy because I felt they had figured out a way to win matches. They had some glaring loopholes in their team, but they somehow were always able to get past through that in terms of the Indian batting. They always had that chink, but they somehow used to overcome that with their bowling. I mean, with Rashid Khan and Bhuvi, they had such a good partnership going. And Bhuvi, especially with Bhuvi, because he was so good in he gets you wickets opening the bowling and is very good at the death and economical as well. So automatically those extra runs which are Khalil Bhai gives, if Bhuvi was there, he would have automatically cut down those 10-15 runs. And this is where in T20, those 10-15 runs are the margins by which you lose a game. So for me, with Bhuvi not being there, I feel it's going to be really tough for SRH as heartbroken I am right now. If I have to say that, probably it would also depend on today's match because they are. I feel they are somewhat closer. One ring or one rung below KKR. If they are able to win today's match with KKR, probably I would still put them in contention. But overall, I don't see them qualifying for the final four. So for me, it is a sell. SRH.
Is that why you left Hyderabad?
Heartbroken.
He was escaping the rains actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next on the agenda?
Let's take Delhi. Let's see from the capital what's happening. So they started off with a super over win. This was against Kings 11 Punjab, obviously, and KG Rabada bowled them out in super overs. So that tells you about the character of the team. It's that first match itself gave everybody sort of a trailer of what is going to happen sort of in the corresponding matches. Now, we've seen since then how KG Rabada has grown in stature in terms of, coming in even in the middle and picking a couple of wickets and in the death being supreme. Their team then got one more bonus in the shape of Ana Nokia. What can you say about him? Like, he's pacey, he's fiery, and he takes wickets. Yeah, sometimes maybe gets hit as well a little. I mean, but mind you, the impact he's created in Delhi bowling is immense. Right. So they have won a lot of games because of this combination of these two guys, and again, Akshar Patel and so on, bowling there very well as well. Now, talking about their batting, at the start of the tournament, we talk about the likes of Rishabh Pant and Prithvi Shaw and Shreyas Iyer. Although Shreyas Iyer has been very good. For the if I don't have any words for him, but I guess Prithvi Shaw has been hot and cold. We don't really know if you can really rely on him on a certain day. He gets out early. He's very nervy to start with, I guess, in the last couple of matches, and his non-performance got a boost by Shikhar Dhawan. Nobody expected him to come so good consecutively in a couple matches, and he's done that. So that tells you about the depth and the width of sort of their batting. Pant has not played so many matches, so they've had this other problem to deal with, which is the injuries. Pant has to sit out. Amit Mishra is out for the rest of the tournament. So is Ishant Sharma. So they've had these problems, but I guess the bench they had, I guess it was Shivam who said they can also play like two teams, which is sort of true. That they're one of the main spinners, one of the main fast bowlers is not there anymore, and they did still win all these matches. So I guess their team is very strong. They've been doing very well in terms of sort of supporting each other. Prithvi hasn't done well, but Dhawan did pretty good as well. And Iyer has sort of like taken that anchoring role while scoring freely as well. He scores 50, 60. And scores them very rapidly. So I guess that's about them. I mean, I certainly would buy them. They will win many of the matches. The only match they have not been able to win is against Mumbai, which again is supreme. So yeah, but I guess I'll back them to be in the top 4, top 2, I guess. So bye. Most valuable fantasy players. I would pick KJ Rabada and Shreyas Iyer.
Shreyas Iyer. Okay.
What about Dhawan, man? He just scored 100 in the IPL.
He scored his 100 in the IPL, but I would still go with Shreyas Iyer for the consistency.
Yeah, no, I've been really, really impressed by Iyer. I think he in India now, for Team India also, he has to be your go-to number 4 in white ball formats. He has to be. I just think that he's coming into his own as a cricketer. You can see that confidence. He commands now, and he seems to be very comfortable with his batting because. One of the knocks he played, I think he had like a 70 or 80 runs off like 40 balls or something like that, 40, 50 balls. So it's ridiculous strike rates as well. So he seems to be a complete T20 player right now. And a white ball player. I'm excited to see him play a big role for India also going forward. Coming back to DC, it's an easy buy. Nothing to argue there. I just think some of their selections are dumb, yaar. Why is Hetmeyer out because you didn't buy an Indian keeper, yaar? This is ridiculous in this day and age that the team roster construction doesn't keep in mind that you need a backup Indian keeper because playing a foreign keeper is just going to throw off the rest of your balance. So some things are ridiculous, but I think Punter is doing a very good job. And if you are a Punter fan, then you would be very proud of what he's done with that team. He seemed to have molded it in his own image. They're a tough bunch, and they don't seem to ever give up. That's the Aussie way, as they say.
True. I mean, for me, I think I had them as sell.
Wow.
You had them as sell.
Sell at the start of the tournament. But what has kind of impressed me is I always have taken them as a team full of. I am not a fan of Shaw, honestly speaking. And when I see that guy, and that team reminds me of Shaw. जब भी उसको देखता हूँ, ये सारे player Shaw की तरह हैं. They are loose over between their ears, and do they have it in them to when there are those tight situations, can they perform? Was a question mark for me. But what has impressed me the most is their bowling lineup, especially Nokia. What a bowling combination, yaar. I mean, like Rabada and your Nokia, they open the bowling. They are death bowlers as well, and I mean, they're fast. They're doing it really well. And apart from that, Ashwin was injured now, and Ashwin is coming into his own. He is in form. With that, I feel from a bowling perspective, they have everything covered. Opening, death bowling, and the middle overs with Ashwin.
Akshay.
Fantastic team. The only problem with me is I feel apart from Iyer, everybody is a stroke maker. Iyer, because he's a captain, can get his head down and fight through those situations if there are those. Uh, but having said that, they have been amazing. Definitely for now. Purely based on their bowling lineup.
I agreed.
Interesting.
Agreed. So are we now down to our last team?
Yeah.
KKR it is, I
KKR.
guess. Yeah. Well, where do we start? So I'd like to start the KKR segment with the idea of regime change. Uh, Brendan McCullum is someone who is very familiar with overthrowing existing regimes, much like the Bush government, George Bush government. He did it. He was involved in a similar situation with New Zealand, with the New Zealand team, where I believe Ross Taylor was the skipper and Hessen was the Mike Hessen was the coach, and Hessen basically uh, pushed Ross Taylor to quit, and so that because his good buddy Baz could become captain. Now, I'm not saying that wasn't the right decision, but it seems to be that if this was something that had to happen, they could have done it at the beginning of the season. Yeah, DK doesn't inspire much confidence as a skipper, and yeah, better late than never. But I always question a team making a mid-season captaincy change because that means that fundamentally there is something wrong with your team, which is evident because they have blown both hot and cold throughout the tournament. I like Shubman Gill. I think he still needs to be a little few more seasons to get seasoned as a player. Um, he doesn't have that. He's not an outright attacking player. So you end up he does set a platform, but you end up needing that middle order to really charge that innings. Uh, and by middle order, I mean Morgan, Russell, and DK. They've had all sorts of issues on deciding what that batting order should look like. Seems to be that they're going to still be, pretty flexible based on situation. But now with Morgan as skipper, I think you're more likely to see that a few more aggressive decisions. At times it seemed like DK was just trying to feature himself and pushing himself to number 4. I think Morgan will be a little bit more aggressive. He'll push Dre Russ up when he needs to. He'll come in himself. And yes, as much as I hate to say it, he has been one of the best white ball players over the last couple of years. And now it's time for him to earn his paycheck, both as a skipper and as a batsman. Overall, that squad now with Narayan being cleared, that team looks a lot better. Varun Chakravarti, Narayan, Pat Cummins. They're even trying Loki Ferguson today in the match. On paper, those guys look really good. They need Dre Rush to start firing. They need Morgan to score like you expect him to, and they need that Pat Cummins to really stand up, similar to how KG Rabada does, how Norkia has been doing, how Jofra Archer does. They need some consistency there. I would personally buy this team, even though they've been blowing hot and cold so much. I just feel that they finally figured it out with Morgan as captain. So hopefully, all the optimism that I have for them pays off. In terms of fantasy players, when I look at it, when I think about it, I guess Shubman Gill again, just because he's opening, but I just don't. He doesn't score at a fast enough tick for my liking. But at least he's opening because I don't know where the other guys are batting. And Pat Cummins, the all-rounder, the star all-rounder, who scores 50 as well, and sometimes takes a few wickets. I guess he's also a buy for me. Narayan would definitely be a be a fantasy pick for me as well. If once I see him come back and if he settles in. But yeah, it's a buy for me. I think that was the tricky part for me between SRH and KKR. But I'll go with the KKR.
They're just a more better. I mean, well-rounded, well-balanced team than SRH.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. I mean, just based on now that, as you said, Narayan is cleared, I think they have their spin in place. They have their pace in place, and with Morgan as captain, I think things are looking a bit better now. And yeah, I tip them to make it to the playoffs. A buy for me.
Sumit?
I'd buy them as well. You said a very you talked about an important point. So their batting is slightly more spread. They don't have a lot of firepower right away. Like other teams like SRH has, which means Gill is. He gives a good start but doesn't have the same pace. But some things that I really like in the squad are I was impressed with Varun Chakravarti. I mean, we've known him, but he's done pretty well for an Indian spinner. So their balance is something that I think will get them through, even though their big guns like Morgan and Russell haven't fired yet. In time they will. They still have won so many games in spite of, let's say, easygoing batting from these two. And I guess towards the end, some of these matches will be won by some sixes from Morgan and Russ. So I'd buy them and hope they do well.
So at the end of it, guys, when we look at the buy-sell table, is very much reflective of what the teams are as of now in the overall standing, the points table, with Delhi Capitals, Mumbai Indians, RCB, and Kolkata Knight Riders at the outright buys. It's a unanimous decision, unlike the preseason one. So yeah, that's the one for it. And do let us know if you guys agree with us or disagree, or you have any comments. Do let us know. So guys, the next section we have is the MVPs, and each of us is going to give who, according to them, is going to be the MVP at the end of the season. So, as per now, the top three performing players in terms of fantasy as well are KL Rahul, who's leading with more than 600 points. Then we have he's followed by Kagiso Rabada, uh, a bowler, which is good to see. And then we have Faf at 566 points. It's a tough, it's a close group, but those are the top three performing players. Guys, your views. Do you guys think at the end of it, it's going to remain like this?
So MVPs is not only about number of points, also sort of like the impact they had on the overall tournament. But having said that, I would still pick KG Rabada as my MVP for the whole tournament. Delhi will definitely play playoffs and possibly go into the final as well. So he has more games as well to sort of like increase his chances. So I would go with KG Rabada as my MVP.
Interesting. Sai.
Khare, I'll defer to you first, then I'll try and make a call. Tell me.
Okay. It's a tough one, yeah. For me, I think as Sumer, you did mention that MVP is having the impact. Kagiso Rabat, all these three players are having an impact, even though Rahul and Faf, it's not translating in the wins. The one player who is not there, but I feel has had a lot of impact in the wins has been Tewatia. I think Rajasthan Royals has had 3 wins. Out of that, two of them have been because of Tewatia. So I feel, but at the end of the tournament, will he be the MVPs? I don't know. It's going to be tough for him to squeeze that, because as a team they are not performing well. So
You
for
can
me,
take two though. You can name two.
if not for Tewatia, I think it is hard to look past Kagiso Rabada as of now. He's because the team is winning. He has been contributing to it, so it's a little difficult to look past through him.
Yep, I'll agree with you on this. That my mid-season MVP, I think it's fair to say that KG Rabada has been good, very good, excellent, and it's fair to say that he is the mid-season MVP. Will he be able to stretch it through the whole course of the tournament? So something that we'll have to find out. But it's a tough one. I'll also go with Rabada for now.
Do you think Stoinis, as the season progressed, could become a major have a major impact with his bowling and batting? Do you think he will kind of
I
move
think
up?
with batting, once Pant is fit and Hetmeyer comes back in, it's a very crowded batting lineup. He won't get batting like a substantial number of balls every
Mm.
match. And bowler, even though I was never convinced about him as a bowler, but he does give you a couple of handy overs as we've seen with the slower pitches and his variations, etc. I think has been a very good buy, and I feel like Punter has done a good job unlocking him, but I'm not sure about him as a MVP candidate.
So let's do the following. Like, so you all of us, I guess, sort of agree on KG Rabada, but what would be interesting is like Vivek has already given a worthy mention in the shape of Tivatia. Why don't you give one more
Left
worthy
field,
mention,
yes.
and I will also think of
I
something.
will give
So
you
that's
Shikhar
yeah.
Dhawan. Shikhar Dhawan, man,
Okay.
number 4 right now in the run scoring charts. Nobody seems to be able to stop him. He is batting like a man who is possessed, and this is the Shikhar Dhawan we only see in 50 over World Cups. But now
ICC
we're seeing it in and 50 over tournaments. I haven't seen him play this well in T20 tournaments. So this is his strike rate is what really really stands out to me, and he's hit a rich vein of form and he's capitalizing on it. So if you are saying a left field pick for me, then it's Shikhar Dhawan.
I would go with AB de Villiers. I think he can win you a lot of matches. This is exactly what MVP is. So I guess for me, it's KG Rabada and Abraham de Villiers.
With MVPs out of the way, it's time to focus on my personal favorite is the emerging players of the tournament. Who are those players which we think can go on, take that next big step and play for India? Uh, guys, each one of us has to give their names. Sumer, do you want to start? Do you want to tell us who are your picks?
So I guess for me, then it's he's already played for India under 19. I guess it's Ravi Bishnoi.
Ravi Bishnoi.
Yeah.
I like what Bishnoi has done this season. He's actually been a standout performer for a team that isn't that great. So but I would have to give it to Dev Dutt
Yeah,
Padikkal.
that's really why I had asked. Do we only pick one or two?
No, you only pick
Yeah.
one. So
Yeah.
Dev Dutt Padikkal for me, though he seems to not last couple of innings of his, he hasn't kicked on after a good start because it takes some time to kind of figure out how to play on these slower pitches. But to start off the season, he was fantastic, man. He was giving them something which they haven't had in a while. With when they played Virat and ABD down the order, he was giving them that kick start from the openers, which is actually what sets up that entire batting lineup then. So for me, to have a guy who is so young to come in and dramatically improve a side, it has to go to him. So he's my mid-season favorite for emerging player of the tournament.
And he's being mentored by is it Virat?
Virat, yeah, because Felipe was allegedly being mentored by
Mentored
ABD.
by ABD.
Yeah,
That's an interesting concept, no? CS. It's like a corporate concept. Like
mentorship.
you have mentorship. Yeah, I am in agreement with you, Sai. But for me somehow, I mean, like again, he's an opener. Uh, I would I would have wanted Natarajan to be in the mix as well. I think we need a finisher or rather a death bowler. Uh, but I don't think he qualifies because you need to be of a certain age.
Correct.
But I would have loved to see him in the Indian mix as well. But yeah, since he doesn't make the age category, I would go ahead with Devdutt Padikkal. I think he has been excellent. Bishnoi has, I somehow I like the kind of what he just like his persona. I don't think he gets too
Flustered.
phased by the name personalities, the big name personalities. He has his limitations, I feel, as a bowler, but just as a personality. I mean, he's mentored by Kumble. Kumble, they said, couldn't spin the ball, right? But he went on to become like what? He picked up some 600 odd wickets. So yeah, just based on the strength of persona which he has, the character which he shows, I feel he's a good find. But overall, as of now, Devdutt Padikkal, yes, definitely top of it.
Great.
So, and with that, that's the end of the emerging players discussion, and then we move on to now the uh, top matches of the tournament so far. Each of us is going to give their favorite matches of the season. Um, Side, do you want to share with us what, according to you, was your favorite match till now?
It has to be something that Tewatia has done, right? I think it was the first Tewatia Blitzkrieg because everybody was tweeting about him, how he's losing this match for his team, etc. Harsha famously tweeted, and then he got lambasted. I mean, I honestly think that it's okay that people thought that he was doing badly. That's the fun of IPL, right? That in the ebb and flow of the game, and nobody expected him to be that good, etc. It has to be for me that Tewatia match because nobody really saw that coming, and he really pulled a rabbit out of the hat when it mattered most.
Interesting.
Sumer?
I would take the RCB and Mumbai Indians super over match, the one that was tied and then went into the super over, purely because the so 200 runs to score 200 runs is never easy, and then you lose a lot of your guys already, and then never lose anybody until the end. That is the power of the batting that was on display by Pollard and Ishan Kishan. Ishan Kishan made 99, and Pollard also made some 60, 70 runs, if I'm not mistaken. And that, I guess, was the highlight of the match. And then they went on to tie the match, right? Although they lost the match to RCB, ABD and Virat Kohli got them home. But even then, I guess that was a very good match on display. A lot of firepower, a lot of nerves, and expectations, and so on. So yeah, there was a very good match to watch.
Yeah, I mean, like when I saw the Tewatia game, I thought nothing can top that. 30, they were, as you mentioned, yeah, everybody was crying. Simon Dool went mad, yeah, on air. He's like, कि, भाई इसको क्यों खिला रहे हो? I mean, he should just get out. And after 2 overs, everybody was like, कि यार भैया अब बना लो यार. We have इतने गालियां दिए हैं तुमको. We are so feeling for you now. At least please score. He scored 30 runs for 30 runs against the in that Sheldon Cottrell over, and after that he's like, now I think that game was for the ages. And then the next game was the RCB versus Mumbai Indians. I think that was something stunning. I mean, Sharjah had it had the thing that the ground was small, but the this particular ground was like, yaar, अच्छा खासा बड़ा था, and to score 90 runs in the last 5 overs, I think that was something special, yaar. And Sumer, I remember we discussing on WhatsApp, and we said ki yaar, I think Pollard is now going to kickstart, and he can do something magical. And you said ki ye kuch nahi karega, and as soon you said ki ye kuch nahi karega,
I
Pollard
remember that.
went mad.
Berserk, yeah,
Pollard
yeah,
went mad. He went berserk. So I think he was waiting for your comment. Huh?
yeah.
So I think it's a tough one for just for the sheer number of runs which they scored. I'm tilting towards the RCB Mumbai Indians match. I think for me that was really good, really good. So that was it from our end on the top matches, and now we move on to a very interesting section, the last one for today's episode, which is the pie checker of the tournament. Now, this is something which we have been doing, identifying the pie checker of the match after every game, and this has and I think all our social we have been doing this on all our social media platforms, and we have and people seem to have really liked it. If you don't know, follow us. You have the details in the description. And so till now, who has been the leading contender? We have the MVPs, we have the emerging players. Who has been the pie checker of the tournament thus far? Guys, what are your inputs? How do you see this?
Well, until right now, it's three pie checkers for KL Rahul, even though he has the highest runs in the tournament.
It has been four, Sumer. I think you are being a little lenient on
Being
KL
kind.
Rahul.
Four,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
four,
been four.
600 runs, but
Ah.
four. For some 500 runs.
He's a leading run scorer. He has the maximum fantasy points, and he's also leading our pie checker of the
What more
tournament
can you
race.
ask for? What do you guys feel about the rest of the tournament? Sai.
For me, I think that KL Rahul has got off to a to a start that will take some catching up for
Yeah.
other guys. Close contenders, in my opinion, could be, because even with the few matches left, Jaydev Unadkat is always one who can, he can find a way to go for 25, 30 runs and change the course of a match. So I'm pretty sure that it's not the last we've heard of Jaydev Unadkat, but for now it has to be KL. I just don't have much faith.
How about MSG?
MSD, yeah, I think MSD, just from a performance standpoint, he doesn't bowl. He batting he comes really low. The only place where he can go wrong is the captaincy, uh, and he has its bits. I think he has two solid pie checking performances thus
Yeah.
far. But for me, I think apart from KL Rahul, who's going to suck big time, is Steve Smith. I mean, with the kind of performances he has been putting in, I think he's going to give KL Rahul a
Run
good
for his
run.
money.
Yeah.
Okay. So the big guys win the pie checker. That's interesting, The
Yes.
sweet Steven Smiths and and KL Rahuls of the world.
Yeah. Absolutely. So with that, we come to an end of the episode. Thank you guys for listening to us. Do let us know. Give us your feedback on the on the kind of on our review, on our inputs, our insights. If you think we can do something better, please let us know. And do let us know about the pie checkers thing which we have been doing for this season. And yeah, till the next time, thank you, bye bye, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.